Good morning, IFTJ. How's everybody doing? So my name is Laura Bopp, and I'm a graduate of the University of Scranton. I'm also a member of the program Operation Teach, so I live in Baltimore and work as an English teacher while simultaneously getting my master's degree, and I live in community. I'm here today to tell you about how I put my faith into action and how you all can too. So, I have been coming to the Teach-In for the past few years, and this weekend has made such a significant impact on my life. I sat here in the same seats as all of you, and I listened to these incredible speakers who amazed me with all that they had done to work for justice. The first year I attended IFTJ, I heard a lot about the criminal justice system and the challenges faced by inmates. One speaker in particular, Sister Helen Prejean, touched me the most when she quoted the Bible saying, "I was in prison and you came to me." She explained how that verse should be taken literally and described how she found herself working with inmates. I left IFTJ feeling like there was something I needed to do to put that verse into action in my own life. At the time, I was studying to be an English teacher and decided to take my existing talents in writing and teaching and combine them with my newfound interest in the prison system. I returned to Scranton and started a literacy program for female inmates at the county prison. The program is called LEAP, which stands for Literacy, Education, and Advocacy in Prison. I chose this name not only because of the appropriate acronym, but also because of two phrases I would always use when recruiting student volunteers. The first thing I would tell them is that we were all taking a leap of faith together, since we really didn't know what to expect when we entered the prison. The second phrase I would use is that we were not taking a step, but a leap outside our comfort zone. This year, we are talking about rowing into the deep and challenging ourselves to go beyond what we know and are accustomed to. LEAP helped both inmates and student volunteers to row into the deep together. We were all forced to let go of stereotypes and preconceived notions we had about each other. By writing together, we were able to let go of those labels and see the humanity that lies within all of us. I would like to point out that in the beginning, not everyone was as excited about my idea as I was. You can imagine my mother's concern when I called her up and said, "I'm going to prison." I spent a full year meeting with faculty members, students, prison staff, and others until the program finally became a reality. Even after the program started, we were faced with constant changes in the number of inmates at our meetings. Some days we would see 20 inmates, some days we would see 4. Each time we walked into the prison, we never really knew exactly what was going to happen. Most nights we laughed together, and other nights we cried as someone shared an emotional piece of writing. One night in particular, we were all completing a prompt that asked us to describe the prison classroom as a warm and welcoming place. Many inmates struggled to write anything, and most were only able to come up with a sentence. As we began to share, one inmate's description in particular touched me. She wrote about the laughter and the smiles that filled the room each week at our program. She also talked about how she loved the smell of my perfume. I was confused because I wasn't wearing any perfume, but then I quickly realized she was talking about the smell of my soap. This conversation made me aware of just how many basic human rights inmates are stripped of every day. Simple things such as taking a shower and smelling fresh air are regulated and restricted. By creating LEAP, I sought to provide these women with just a little bit of freedom. The second semester of our program, we gave each inmate their own personal journal. This provided them with an outlet for writing outside of our program. The women were so excited just to have something of their own, and they would even ask us for homework assignments, which as a teacher, I do not get asked a lot. During the week, some of the women would take their skills, the skills that we practiced in our session, and they would continue developing their stories until they saw us again. We were all humbled and fulfilled by the experience, and I would not be the person I am today without LEAP. This program has had such a profound impact on my life, but what I really want to focus on today is you. I have been in your shoes, And I know how awesome it is to be sitting here at IFTJ. You leave here feeling inspired and passionate and touched by the stories you've heard. So my question is, what are you going to do about it? When we leave here and get back to our busy lives, it's easy to forget what we learned this weekend. It's convenient to go home and say, we'll do something about it next year, or when we graduate, or after we get a stable job. At the time, I wanted to do just that, but there was a passion inside of me that wouldn't go away. I was just a college student who left here thinking, I should do something about that. And after a year of hard work, I made my idea into a reality. You can do the same in your communities. It doesn't matter if you are a high school student or a college student or a graduate. What matters is that you care about the injustices that you see and that you try to do something about them. What matters is that you take the gifts God has given you and you use them to row into the deep. The Teach-In is not designed to just be an annual event that you attend and forget about. It is meant to be a weekend of sharing ideas and learning new things that lead you to work for positive change. If we don't do anything about the issues we discuss, we are failing to put our faith into action. Now, you do not need to go to prison. You do not need to start a program, you just need to do something. Maybe it's starting a campaign or a fundraiser, or maybe it's going out and educating the members of your community about on an issue that interests you. I encourage you to use the motivation you feel after you leave here. Keep up with the people you came here with. Remind each other of the conversations and ideas you had while you were sitting in this building. You have the power to be change makers. You have the strength to row into the deepest waters. Thank you so much.